Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today is Carla Augustyn. She is a teacher, not just any teacher, but a spiritual teacher. She also has her own TV show and she teaches at New London Continuing Education. It is her first time on the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you so much for having me.
You're in the guest chair today instead of the host chair.
Yes, I am.
So you'll have to get used to that. Okay, for everybody, this is going to be a very interesting show. Let's start out with a definition of what a spiritual teacher is.
Yes, I love to help people, encourage them and support them on their spiritual journey. We're on our spiritual journey when we're trying to find the truth of who we are. What is it that makes us happy, makes us feel peaceful, and ultimately fulfilled? And there's different ways that you can do that. And spirituality, I love it because no one can tell you how to be spiritual. There are no rules to spirituality. It's a unique journey for every person.
It's hard to even define it, I would imagine, if it's not the same for everybody, right?
It is hard to define it. I mean, ask any 10 people and you'll have 10 different definitions because, again, it's so personal of what that journey looks like, why different people go on it, and what is the support that's out there for them. You can get support. No one can say, oh, if you do A, B, and C, boom, you're spiritual. It doesn't happen that way.
Take a course.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be spiritual. Don't worry about it. It's an ongoing thing, and I love it. Spirituality, I mean, I've been spiritual since I was a kid, but I would say I really amped it up when I turned 40, and I just love it because it's just a more peaceful state. Our true state are really, for all of us, is one of joy. That's what our soul is. But what happens is that as responsible adults, we have, chaos around us, and we have responsibilities, and we can have moments of being crabby and not happy, but that's not our true spiritual nature.
Yeah, that responsible adult thing is for the birds.
It really is. It's overrated, and very overrated.
Well, you brought it up. You mentioned you as a kid. So how far back do we want to go before you realized there was something to this? And when you're young like that, do you really even understand or know what's going on?
I don't think you do. I mean, I didn't. I mean, I was in Catholic school. And I loved, here I was a 7-year-old, I loved hearing the nuns talk about the soul. I mean, what is this thing called the soul? And they would say that's where your sins were recorded and only God could see your soul. And I thought, but I want to see my own soul. And I would imagine what it looked like. And the reality is that is the spiritual journey, is that we do take a look at what our soul is and what it is that's about us.
You're the only kid in that class that was interested in it. Right? Other kids were thinking about regular things, right?
Throwing pencils, yeah. But
Now, I wonder, it's funny because I was raised a Catholic too. I didn't go to Catholic school, but I often wonder that because the nuns really kind of, it's almost, I don't want to use the term dictatorial, but it's the iron fist rule. So I wonder if that could kind of steer you in a particular direction to maybe look at a more positive outlook and maybe look at it as more, like you said, spirituality as opposed to, follow these rules. Otherwise, you're going to burn and that kind of thing.
Right. I think kids are naturally spiritual.
Right.
I mean, I'm not the only one. Kids are very naturally spiritual and like to figure things out. And I think that kids know when something doesn't ring true for them. They may not say anything. They may know as a child, don't bring it up. I mean, I knew not to bring certain things up. But I think kids are naturally spiritual. They're very connected.
So you kind of realized something was going on, and you were interested in things like the soul and what happens. Do you think at that point it started sort of molding what your life would be like as far as what you would study and what you would be interested in?
Absolutely. When I look back on it now, didn't know it when I was going through it. I mean, I think once I was like a teenager and young adult, things went a little bit dormant for me. But then when I was in my mid-20s, I mean, I had gotten married and I was raising a family, but I was always dabbling in it. I was always curious. So, I mean, over 30 years ago, I was taking a Tai Chi class, and then I'd get bored with that and I'd go on to something else. And then I got into herbs and natural remedies, and I was just always exploring, reading tea leaves, reincarnation, everything. I found it so interesting. And then when I hit 40, then it was, okay, I'm amping this up, and I'm going to get more involved, and I discovered my angels, and I just loved it. It's like it hasn't stopped. It just keeps going and going and going for me.
So describe what the difference between being spiritual and being religious is.
Yeah, that's a good question. You can be both either, none. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I mean, people can definitely be spiritual and still be religious. Religion it's organized, and there's a reason for that. I mean, it's lovely that there's communities out there where people feel like they're a part of. And so I think religion gets kind of a bad rap. I mean, it's really a good thing
Well,
if it's
in this day and
positive.
age, it gets a
It
bad.
really does in this day and age.
Where they
If
go to
religion-
war over religion.
I know, and it's if religion works for you, that's wonderful. Nobody you don't have to give up your religion to go on the spiritual journey. I mean, people, spirituality is kind of like going off on a different road. It's just you
Yeah.
can still go side by
And you're going to
side.
end up at the same place.
You
If you're a good
are,
person and your religion
absolutely.
is very different from mine, you're going to be good people traveling different
Absolutely.
paths, ending up at the same place.
I agree. I agree with that. So I think spirituality goes off and it's about, like I said, finding that peace within and your true purpose and what brings you joy. And yes, you can do it side by side with religion. For
So
sure.
whenever people think of being spiritual and spirituality, one big thing that comes up is life after death. Maybe your loved ones when they pass on, what happens to them? These are questions that come up all the time.
Absolutely, and I love this idea. I mean, our loved ones are always our loved ones. I mean, love doesn't die. It's a beautiful energy, and it exists even into the next life. And so that love that we have, I mean, even though it's very painful when our loved ones pass, and it's not the same relationship, it's not the same thing, they are always there for us. I mean, it's certainly we can reach out to our loved ones for help and guidance and support. They're there for us all the time. They don't leave. They don't pester us, but they don't leave.
It would probably bug some people or freak them out a little bit if they were kind of a little bit more hands-on with you after they've passed on, right?
Absolutely, and they can't. See, we have free will living on this planet, and so as spiritual beings, we do. And so they can't interfere and intrude in our lives. Now angels can't. Certainly our deceased loved ones can't, but they don't want to either. I mean, they understand we have free will, and they just want to love and support us.
So even if they know you're traveling a path where mistakes could be made, they have to allow you to maybe make those mistakes and learn from them?
Well, sometimes, I mean, they can certainly try to guide us, and they can be like, no, don't go down that way, and their way of communicating or, kind of steering us and bringing us messages and just kind of guiding. Ultimately, though, we always make our own decisions, and so they can't always prevent everything, but they are working. They don't sit back and say, "Hey, if he wants to make that mistake, that's too bad." I mean, if they're there, and the key is, Sean, is to ask. It's always the key. It's like the one big secret in the universe is to ask for help. So with our deceased loved ones or with our angels, if we ask for help, there's so much more they can do. They really can't come in and meddle and fix things and make us do this and make us do that. They can't do that.
Can they suggest? Can they sit on your shoulder?
Absolutely. They can sit on your shoulder, whisper in your ear, and be like, you can do it. I mean, they're very encouraging. If you're looking for, say, a new job, they can be encouraging. They can help steer you towards towards a certain direction and that type of thing. So yeah, they're very in our corner.
Do people have the satisfaction of knowing that even though they've lost a loved one, that they will be able to be with them someday once they pass over themselves?
Lots of times those are the messages too that will come through from deceased loved ones, letting you know that they are still there. That's like the number one thing that with people that do communicate with the dead, which I do not, but people that do will say that's like the number one thing that a deceased being will say is like, I haven't left you yet. I have not left you. I'm still here, because they feel it. They feel that they're still here. We just don't see them anymore, and they're not in human form. So they're definitely there to take care of us.
Is it unhealthy to hold on and not sort of let go, or?
Well,
for the human?
Yeah, and I think it's more, I mean, things get debated about that, but I really think it's more for our best interest that they want us to let go. That's the number one reason, too, why they come through and give messages. It is move on with your life. They know we're grieving, but they want us to move on with our life while we're here. Our life here is very short. Yeah. It's all of eternity on the other side, but it's very short here.
For those that do contact their deceased loved ones, is it a good thing? Is it a natural thing? Can you get into trouble doing it sometimes?
Well, I think no. I think as long as you just say to your loved one, "I'd love a message," for instance. I would encourage people to do that. Really, you're not going to get into trouble because they love you. When people start messing around with things that
Right.
I don't know too much about, but like the occult and things
Right.
like that, that's a whole other story.
And that's where you can get into trouble. You
That's
might
where,
not even be talking to who you think you
energetically,
are.
you can get into a little trouble
Yeah.
there. But when you're talking about angels or your deceased loved ones who certainly act as your angels, that's love. That's love that's all around you, and that's what you're inviting in, and that's who you're directly asking help from. And so certainly I always encourage people, even if your deceased loved one passed away many, many years ago, if you want to know if they're still around you, ask for a sign. That's when they come in symbolically. That's when people get signs like finding coins or seeing rainbows everywhere they go, or seeing butterflies wherever they go, certain birds, and those type of signs are little winks, I call them, little communications coming from your loved one.
I had mentioned this to you off the air. My mom passed away about 10 years ago or so, and I almost, because she was a very religious woman, raised a Catholic, and I kind of expected to sense something from her, like visiting me at night, shortly after she passed, and I never did. I never saw the orb or something like that you're
Right.
supposed to see, and so the fact that I didn't made me wonder if I wasn't sensitive enough.
Yeah, don't blame yourself. I mean, because we don't fully understand. We don't fully understand what her responsibilities are over there and what she's doing. And it doesn't mean she hasn't. It can be, it's just not an obvious way. You were looking for orbs or, feeling a presence. And it could be in another way that she was delivering a message. It is felt as though we receive many more messages than we know. It's just people will dismiss it. They'll think, oh, it's
Right.
just wishful thinking, or that really wasn't my mom in my dream, or that really wasn't my mom saying hello. And if you start seeing butterflies everywhere you go, or coins everywhere you go. But I would certainly encourage you to reach out to her. I receive messages from my dad. I never receive messages from my mother. And I just understand that it's just the way it goes. It doesn't mean it won't start up at some point. So.
Are younger people, children, more sensitive? Is it, and if so, is it because their mind isn't conditioned the way that adults is after a while to sort of stop believing after a while?
I think so. I mean, when you think about it, children have just arrived from the other side. I mean, we know when we pass on, we go to afterlife, but in order for us to come here, we had to come from somewhere, and that's where we came from. And so children, babies, they're still very in touch with that. Through time, they either, it becomes less of a memory for them, and also I think adults can discourage it. When kids say, "Oh, Grandpa came to visit me," and Grandpa's been deceased for 20 years, and people get a little uptight about it, and that's when a kid will clam up and be like, "Oh, I'm not going to mention this anymore." So definitely, I think we all are as children, but we at different ages shut it down.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Let's take a break and come back because we have a lot more to get to. Why don't you give out the website for people to go and learn more?
Oh, yes, please go on my website. It's at carlaaugustyn.com.
All right, we'll put a graphic up on the screen too. Carla Augustyn, spiritual teacher, got her own TV show, teaches right here in the same building that this studio is in too. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay right there. We'll be back. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest is Carla Augustyn. Well, I knew I was going to have a tough one. A spiritual teacher, and we've learned a lot so far. You had mentioned the website right before we went to the break. What's on the website for people to see?
I do have my public classes that are up there, and how people can contact me, and the different services that I do offer, the different types of classes I offer, and also a link for my show that people can watch on YouTube.
Okay. So we've been talking a lot about deceased loved ones who have passed over. I want to up the ante now and talk about the big guys and girls that are their angels, guardian angels. What is an angel?
I love the angels. Angels are spiritual beings. They were created by God to help bring peace to our lives. And anything an angel can do to help us, they will. We tend to think that we don't want to pester our angels. We don't want to bother them, that they must have more important work to do than hang out with us. But nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, your angels, you have a team of angels. I have a team of angels. Aaron has a team of angels. We all have our own.
He doesn't.
We all have our own angels that are around us, that are available to help us. Everybody on the planet does. So we're never taking angels away from somebody or something that's more important. Your angels are there for you, and if they can help you, they will.
Is there a hierarchy in angels? Like, you know, the
archangels? The
archangels
are the higher of the angels. It's felt as though the archangels are kind of in charge of the angels that are here. Archangels are very powerful. We know we're very familiar with Archangel Michael and Gabriel and Raphael, and there's a specific function that they have, but they're available to everyone. They're always available. Archangel Michael tends to be a favorite. He's the protector. So they all have different roles, and we all have a guardian angel. We all have at least one guardian angel that's with us for our whole life, that never leaves our side. What people don't realize is that angels are coming and going throughout our lives. So we could have had a series of angels when we were a kid, and then if we're going through a difficult time, if we're grieving, if we get a new job, I mean, just
so it depends
things.
On what your need is.
It depends on what your need is, and they are always coming and going. They're always trying to whisper in our ear, trying to guide us, bring us messages.
I thought you meant if there was like a shift change, like this angel's coming on at 5, so the new guy's coming in.
Well, you can have an angel just shows up for an hour. I mean, that can happen. Like you say, a shift change. I like that. And so, they're they're coming and going, and they're always there. We get the most out of them when we ask for their help.
That's the key. We just don't ask, right?
We don't ask for their help. And when we do, it's kind of like opening up the doors and the windows, and all the angels can come flying in. They can just do so much more for us when we ask.
And you simply call out their name, or you don't really even need to call out a name. Just ask for angel help, right?
Exactly. Just ask for angel help. I mean, it's fun to know angels' names, but you don't have to know an angel's name. And you can call, if you sense you have your angels around you, which you do, you can call them any name that you want. They just come. You don't have to know the exact name of an angel. They'll always show up. They'll always be there. I always say if you can think of an issue, there's an angel that wears that hat. So don't worry about it. Just say, angels that will help me find a new job. Angels that will get me through the day. Angels that will...
What's happening? What are angels doing when there's like a nasty war going on between people's countries? What are they thinking? What's going on? But they really can't interfere, can they?
They can't stop somebody from doing something. We have free will. We were granted that, and it's a huge responsibility, and it's a huge privilege to have free will. And so, it's often said that we're really spiritual beings having a human experience. And so that's what happens with things with like war. The people involved, they have free will, and atrocities do happen when free will. Somebody's free will overpowers another individual's free will.
So there is a darkness that exists that the light side has to resist and fight against, right?
And yes, and that's what the dark side is people get further away from the light. They get further away from love. They get further away from truth.
And so, again, all you have to do is simply ask, and they will be there, and they will help.
Just ask, and they will be there, and then start listening for the signs. I always say everybody spiritually hears. You will hear your angel, even if you don't hear, like, most people don't hear like you hear my voice right now, but you will hear in some way. If you've ever said, I always trust my gut, I trust my feelings, I listen to my heart, I have good intuition. Those are ways that spirit communicates. They communicate through your gut. They communicate through your heart, through your intuition. That's the way messages come through.
It's not just a straight, send an email or a text.
It's not, and unfortunately, not yet. Not yet. It's not that easy.
But. You would think with modern technology, is there a possibility or a chance that someday in the future we may get closer to understanding what the other side is, the spiritual existence is?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think we get closer to that. I'm certainly open. I mean, I'm always interested in what's the possibility of it and what helps us here. What can we find out about the other side, about all the spiritual help that's there, and spiritual beings, what they can do for us, and how do we live a better life now?
What are your thoughts on all the shows that you see on TV now, the ghost hunter type shows? They do the investigations. Are they actually seeing anything? And because we haven't talked at all about, you say that angels and the deceased will try to communicate with us in a certain way, but you never mentioned anything about them, any kind of a physical presence, you know? And so when these guys are doing these investigations, are they actually seeing anything?
Well, it depends what they're investigating. I mean, there's
Right.
a lot that they're looking for ghosts, and ghosts are a completely different thing. Ghosts,
Okay.
ghosts are beings that haven't quite crossed over yet.
Were they
And so
once human?
So yes,
Okay.
ghosts were once human, and so they've died, and it's
They're stuck?
and they're kind of stuck. They're
Yeah.
kind of stuck between two lives. So this world and the other world. So that's something different. We shouldn't be reaching out to ghosts. Ghosts
Could get ugly.
Ghosts, yeah, they can't really help us. I mean, ghosts really, if anything, we should show compassion for
They
because
need
they're
our
stuck.
help.
They need our help. I
Right.
mean, that's why. I mean, I think it was great shows that show helping ghosts pass over. To cross over to the other side. I mean, that's good. I think shows are great when they open us up. I mean, I hate when things create fear, but that's entertainment too.
Yeah, ratings.
Yeah, and that type of thing. But I think if it opens people up to the idea of it, I mean, there's certainly been some good angel shows that are out there.
Yeah.
So,
Speaking of shows, you have one of your own on public access, right?
I
Let's talk
do.
about your show.
Yes, it's called Spiritual Invitation, and I'm really exploring, I'm inviting the viewer to explore spirituality. So I love to put things out there, the guests that come on, their own spiritual journeys, how they got on it. People get on for different reasons, just they've been spiritual since a kid, or they've gone through a difficult time, they've lost a loved one, things like that, an illness, and why they're on their spiritual journey and what has helped them. So I've had people that have written books and people that have extraordinary adventures, have little miracles in their lives, that are into the healing arts. I love the healing arts,
Right.
and how this has helped them.
Before we run out of time, since you mentioned that, let's talk Reiki.
Yes,
What
let's
is
talk Reiki. Reiki is a Japanese technique for stress reduction and relaxation, and it's a hands-on type of healing. Actually, the hands can be above the body or can lightly touch the body, and it's wonderful. It's safe for everybody. Anybody can learn Reiki. And it's the premise that when the body's relaxed, it knows what to do. Our bodies don't like it when we're stressed out, we have a headache, we have a stomach ache, we're not feeling great. Our bodies really do love us and they want to take care of us. And so relaxation, we all know, everybody would agree, is a good place to get. And Reiki is just one form of relaxation. So when the body's relaxed, it does know how to take care of itself.
I understand it's not even just people that can benefit from Reiki. Even our pets can benefit from
Oh,
Reiki.
pets love Reiki. I've heard the cutest pet stories. I mean, where pets, well, pets are so sensitive to energy. I mean, they know who they like and who they don't like and who they want to be around. So they're very sensitive to that. So a lot of people take classes just to give to themselves or to give to their pets, their loved ones.
And you teach it too, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I love teaching. I've been teaching for over 10 years, and I've been a Reiki master for over 10 years. And, it used to be, Sean, 10 years ago, the only people coming for class were people that wanted to be practitioners. And now it's so great. It's just opened up, and so you get moms, you get grandmoms coming. Again, people to give to their pets. I mean, it's just everyday people that want it in their own life.
For all the things that we've talked about today, I think this is an appropriate question to ask. Misconceptions about the world of spirituality. What are people thinking that are just flat out wrong?
Well, that spirituality is scary. It's not. It's not. It's
the
not.
opposite.
It's the opposite. It's not fear-induced. I mean, spirituality, angels, your deceased loved ones, it's all about love, and they will never create fear. If you're feeling something scary, it's not coming from your angel, and it's certainly not coming from your deceased loved one. It's not coming from that place. So it's never It's never scary. They don't create fear in any way. And spirituality, there are no rules. Spirituality it's your journey. You discern all the time. Even on my show, I like presenting. It doesn't mean you have to go out and get Reiki. It doesn't mean you have to call on your angels. It's really just suggestions and letting people know this is out there, it is available, it has helped other people, it might help you, but maybe you want to get into something else.
And one more time, ask for help from your loved ones.
Definitely.
And angels. Just reach out and ask.
Yeah, just reach out and ask. That's it. I mean, what do you got to lose? It's like, just say, hey, if you're there, I'm not sure how much. It's okay to say, I'm not sure how much I believe in you. Nobody gets their feelings hurt on the other side. It's like, it's okay. You know, you can say, I'm not sure if I believe in you, but let's give this a try. I need help in this, you know, and just start talking to them. Angels really want to create relationship with us. I mean, they want it to be ongoing. We're never pesty. We're never pesty. And angels don't get tired of us. We can talk and talk and talk.
Carla Augustyn, spiritual teacher. We learned a lot today, and it was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you.
Oh, likewise. Thank you so much, Sean.
You can see this show and many others on our YouTube sites. Until next time, I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Take care.